Imagine going from $2.26 in your bank account to over $1 million in just 5 years. No lottery wins, no inheritance, no cryptocurrency lucks. Just strategic decisions, relentless focus, and a complete reimagining of what's possible with money. That's exactly what Grant Sabatier did, and today we're diving into his international bestseller, Financial Freedom, a proven path to all the money you will ever need. This isn't another book telling you to skip lattes and clip coupons for 40 years. Sabatier offers something far more radical, a blueprint for achieving financial independence in years, not decades, by maximizing both your income and your savings rate while building wealth through smart investing. What makes this book powerful is that it's not theory. It's a real person's documented journey from broke and sleeping on his parents' couch at age 24 to financially independent at 30. Sabatier reverse-engineered his path to financial freedom and created a system that anyone can follow, regardless of starting point. Financial freedom, as Sabatier defines it, isn't about being rich or never working again. It's about having enough money that work becomes optional. It's about buying back your time and choosing how you spend your days based on what fulfills you, rather than what pays the bills. It's about escaping the trap of trading your life for a paycheck, one day at a time, until you're too old to enjoy your freedom. Over the next 20 minutes, we'll explore Sabatier's complete system, calculating your financial freedom number, maximizing your income through multiple streams, optimizing your savings rate to accelerate your journey, investing for maximum growth, and designing a life that balances present enjoyment with future freedom. These aren't small tweaks, they're fundamental shifts in how you think about and use money. If you're tired of the conventional advice that assumes you'll be happy working until 65, if you've ever calculated how many more years you'll need to work and felt depressed by the answer, or if you're simply ready to take control of your financial future with strategies that actually work fast, this is for you. Let's discover your path to financial freedom. Chapter 1. Calculating your financial freedom number. Sabatier starts with what he considers the most important calculation you'll ever make: your financial freedom number. This is the exact amount of money you need to never have to work for money again. Most people have no idea what this number is, which means they're wandering toward an undefined goal, never knowing if they're making progress or how close they are to freedom. The basic formula is simple: your annual expenses multiplied by 25. This comes from the 4% rule, the idea that you can safely withdraw 4% of your invested portfolio annually without running out of money. If you flip this around, you need 25 times your annual spending invested to be financially free. Sabatier walks through an example. If you spend $40,000 per year, your financial freedom number is $1 million. 40,000 times 25 equals 1 million. With $1 million invested in a diversified portfolio, you can withdraw 4%, $40,000 annually to cover your expenses, while the remaining 96% continues growing, theoretically sustaining you indefinitely. But Sabatier goes deeper than the basic calculation. He breaks financial freedom into 7 levels, giving you targets to aim for. Level 1, clarity. You know exactly how much you're spending and earning. Most people never achieve even this level, living in financial fog. Level 2, Self-sufficiency. You're earning enough to cover your basic needs without assistance. You're no longer dependent on parents or others. Level 3. Breathing room. You've eliminated toxic debt and have a 6-month emergency fund. You can handle unexpected expenses without panic. Level 4. Stability. You've paid off all debt except potentially your mortgage, and you're investing consistently. Financial stress is dramatically reduced. Level 5. Flexibility. You have at least 2 years of living expenses invested. You could quit a job you hate and take time to find something better without financial desperation. Level 6. Financial independence. You have 25 times your annual expenses invested. Work is completely optional. Level 7. Abundant wealth. You have more than you'll ever need and can focus entirely on impact, legacy, and generosity. Sabatier emphasizes that you don't need to reach level 7 or even level 6 to transform your life. Even reaching level 4 or 5 provides enormous freedom and peace of mind. The key is knowing where you are, where you want to be, and exactly what it takes to get there. The author provides a crucial insight. Your financial freedom number isn't fixed. It depends entirely on your annual spending. If you spend $100,000 per year, you need $2.5 million. If you spend $40,000 per year, you only need $1 million. This means you have 2 powerful levers for reaching financial freedom faster: earn more and spend less. The lower your expenses, the less you need to save, and the more of your income you can save. It's a double acceleration. Sabatier challenges readers to calculate their current financial freedom number based on actual spending, then calculate what it would be if they optimize their lifestyle, keeping what truly adds value and eliminating what doesn't. For many people, this exercise reveals they could cut their financial freedom number in half by eliminating expenses that don't actually improve their quality of life. He also introduces the concept of enough, intentionally defining what constitutes a fulfilling life for you rather than accepting society's default programming. Many people are chasing financial freedom numbers inflated by lifestyle expectations they never consciously chose. Sabatier spent 5 years working intensely toward financial freedom, but he was also intentional about designing a life he enjoyed during those 5 years, rather than pure deprivation. Chapter 2. The 11 Paths to Money and Maximizing Income. While most personal finance advice focuses almost entirely on cutting spending, Sabatier dedicates substantial attention to the income side of the equation. His argument is straightforward. There's a limit to how much you can cut, but there's theoretically no limit to how much you can earn. Income is the accelerator pedal on your journey to financial freedom. Sabatier identifies what he calls the 11 paths to money, 11 different ways to generate income. Most people use only 1 or 2 paths their entire lives, leaving massive earning potential untapped. The 11 paths are: 1. Full-time employment, your primary job and salary. 2. Part-time employment, additional employment hours beyond your main job. 3. Freelancing, selling your skills on a project basis. 4. Side hustling, any income-generating activity outside employment. 5. Entrepreneurship, building and scaling a business. 6. Investing in stocks and bonds, passive income from investment returns. 7. Real estate investing, income from rental properties or real estate appreciation. 8. Peer-to-peer lending, earning interest by lending money to individuals or businesses. 9. Selling products online, e-commerce or digital product sales. 10. creating content, monetizing blogs, podcasts, videos, or other content. 11. Building an app or software, creating digital products that generate ongoing revenue. The key insight is that financially free people typically have multiple income streams. Sabatier himself went from one stream, an underpaid job, to 7 streams within 2 years. Each stream didn't need to be massive. Several small streams together created significant income that dramatically accelerated his progress. The author shares his personal journey. When he was broke at 24, he started by taking any freelance work he could find, web design projects, consulting gigs, anything that used his existing skills. Within months, he was earning several thousand extra per month. He funneled this into investments, while simultaneously negotiating a higher salary at his day job and starting several side businesses. Sabatier provides specific strategies for each path. For employment income, he advocates aggressive salary negotiation and strategic job hopping. Research shows people who change jobs every 2 to 3 years earn significantly more over their careers than those who stay with one employer. Companies pay more to attract new talent than to retain existing employees. So, loyalty is often financially punishing. For freelancing and side hustles, Sabatier emphasizes starting with skills you already have rather than spending months learning something new. Can you write? Offer freelance writing. Can you design? Offer freelance design. Can you code? Take contract projects. The fastest path to extra income is monetizing existing skills immediately. For entrepreneurship, the author advocates the lean startup approach. Start with minimal investment, validate demand quickly, and scale only what works. He shares his story of launching a successful blog that eventually generated substantial passive income. But it started with just a domain name and free hosting. The investing paths, stocks, bonds, real estate, are covered in depth later. But Sabatier emphasizes that these become powerful income streams once you've built capital through the active income paths. One framework Sabatier provides is calculating your real hourly rate. Take your salary and divide it by the actual hours you invest in work, including commute time, preparation time, decompression time, and everything work-related. Most people discover their high-paying job actually pays far less per hour than they thought when you account for all work-related hours. Then compare this to what you could earn through other paths. If your real hourly rate at your job is $25, but you could earn $75 per hour freelancing, you should be freelancing every available hour. This calculation transforms how you think about time allocation. Sabatier also addresses the psychology of hustle culture. He worked intensely for 5 years, often 80-hour weeks, but he was strategic about it. He wasn't working at a job he hated for those 80 hours. He was building businesses, developing skills, and creating assets that would generate passive income later. There's a massive difference between working 80 hours to make someone else wealthy versus working 80 hours to build your own freedom. The chapter concludes with an action plan. Identify which of the 11 paths you're currently using. Choose 2 additional paths you could realistically add within the next 90 days, and take 1 concrete action this week toward activating a new income stream. Sabatier emphasizes that adding just $1,000 per month in extra income and investing it can cut years off your journey to financial freedom. Chapter 3. Optimizing your savings rate. Sabatier introduces what he considers the single most important metric in personal finance: your savings rate. This is the percentage of your after-tax income that you save and invest. Most personal finance advice focuses on absolute dollar amounts, but Sabatier argues that your savings rate determines how fast you'll reach financial freedom more than any other factor. Here's why. If you save 5% of your income, you're funding 1 year of expenses for every 20 years you work. If you save 50%, you're funding 1 year of expenses for every 1 year you work. The math is powerful. Your savings rate directly determines your timeline to financial freedom. Sabatier provides a chart that shocked readers. At a 10% savings rate, you'll need to work for 51 years before you can retire. At 25%, it's 32 years. At 50%, it's 17 years. At 75%, it's just 7 years. Every increase in savings rate dramatically accelerates your freedom timeline. This explains how Sabatier reached financial freedom in 5 years. He achieved savings rates exceeding 70% by maximizing income while minimizing expenses. This isn't possible for everyone, but the principle applies universally. Increase your savings rate however you can, because it's the lever that most directly controls your timeline. The author breaks down how to optimize savings rate from both sides. On the expense side, he advocates what he calls conscious spending. Ruthlessly eliminate expenses that don't improve your quality of life while spending freely on things that genuinely make you happy. This isn't deprivation, it's intentionality. Sabatier shares his personal spending optimization. He discovered that expensive dinners out didn't actually make him happier than cooking with friends at home. So he cut restaurant spending by 80% without sacrificing satisfaction. But travel genuinely enriched his life. So he maintained travel spending while optimizing it through travel hacking and strategic planning. The result was a lifestyle he loved at a fraction of typical cost. The book provides a systematic approach to expense optimization. Track every dollar you spend for 1 month. Categorize each expense. Then honestly assess, on a scale of 1 to 10, how much did this expense contribute to your happiness and life satisfaction? Anything rated below 7 is a candidate for elimination or reduction. Anything rated 9 or 10 is worth protecting or even increasing. Sabatier also tackles the 3 biggest expense categories that control most people's financial lives: housing, transportation, and food. Small optimizations in minor categories don't move the needle much, but cutting housing costs by 20% or eliminating a car payment can increase your savings rate by 10 to 20 percentage points. For housing, Sabatier advocates considering unconventional options during your wealth-building years. He lived in low-cost situations, including temporarily moving back with his parents, to maximize savings rate. He's not suggesting everyone should do this, but he is suggesting that your expensive apartment or house might be the single biggest barrier between you and financial freedom. For transportation, Sabatier eliminated car ownership entirely for several years, using public transit, biking, and occasional car rentals. When he eventually bought a car, he bought used with cash. The thousands saved on car payments, insurance, and maintenance went straight to investments. On the income side of savings rate optimization, every dollar of additional income is a dollar that can be saved if you avoid lifestyle inflation. This is why Sabatier emphasizes maximizing income, not to spend more, but to save more. The person earning $100,000 and saving $50,000 has the same savings rate, 50%, as someone earning $50,000 and saving $25,000. But the higher earner is building wealth twice as fast in absolute terms. The chapter concludes with Sabatier's challenge. Calculate your current savings rate, then identify 3 specific actions that could increase it by 5 to 10 percentage points within the next 3 months. 1 action should target income, 1 should target a major expense category, and 1 should target spending optimization. Every percentage point increase in savings rate is shaving months or years off your journey to financial freedom. Chapter 4. Investing to build wealth fast. Sabatier dedicates substantial attention to investing because this is where your money multiplies and financial freedom becomes possible. You cannot reach financial freedom through saving alone. You need your money working for you through compound growth. The author starts with a fundamental truth. The earlier you invest, and the more aggressively you invest, the faster you reach financial freedom. Someone who invests $10,000 per year starting at age 25 will have more wealth at 65 than someone who invests $20,000 per year starting at age 45, despite investing less total money. Time is the most powerful wealth-building force available, and you can never get it back once it's gone. Sabatier's core investment strategy is straightforward. Low-cost index funds invested consistently, regardless of market conditions. He echoes the evidence we covered earlier. Active investing and stock picking typically underperforms simple index investing over time. The key is choosing funds with the lowest possible expense ratios, diversifying broadly across stocks and bonds, and never selling in panic during downturns. The author recommends a simple 3-fund portfolio for most investors: a U.S. total stock market index fund, an international stock index fund, and a total bond market index fund. The allocation between stocks and bonds depends on your age and risk tolerance, with younger investors favoring stocks for growth and older investors including more bonds for stability. Sabatier emphasizes that the investment vehicle matters enormously for tax efficiency. He advocates maxing out all tax-advantaged accounts before investing in taxable accounts. For most Americans, this means contributing the maximum to 401ks, especially if there's an employer match, free money, maxing out Roth IRAs, and considering health savings accounts, HSAs, as stealth retirement accounts. The power of tax-advantaged investing is substantial. $1 invested in a traditional 401k might only cost you 70 cents in take-home pay due to tax deductions. That dollar grows tax-free for decades. When you withdraw it in retirement, you might be in a lower tax bracket, paying less tax than you saved initially. It's legal arbitrage that dramatically accelerates wealth building. Sabatier also addresses real estate investing, which was a significant component of his wealth building. He's realistic about it. Real estate isn't passive. Despite what gurus claim, it requires significant capital and knowledge, and it can be risky. But for those willing to educate themselves and actively manage properties, real estate can provide both cash flow and appreciation that accelerates financial freedom. The author shares his real estate approach. He bought rental properties in markets with strong fundamentals: job growth, population growth, affordable prices. He managed them himself initially to learn the business. He ran the numbers conservatively, ensuring properties cash flowed even with 10% vacancy and higher maintenance costs than typical. This conservative approach meant some properties underperformed expectations, but none became financial disasters. One of Sabatier's most valuable frameworks is calculating time to money, how many hours of work each purchase costs. If you earn $30 per hour after tax and want to buy a $600 item, it costs 20 hours of your life. If you invest that $600 instead, and it grows at 7% annually, in 30 years, it'll be worth about $4,500. You're not just choosing between $600 and the item, you're choosing between the item and $4,500 of future wealth and freedom. This framework transforms purchasing decisions. Suddenly, that luxury car isn't just $40,000. It's potentially $300,000 of future wealth you're sacrificing, which might represent years of financial freedom. This doesn't mean never buying anything, but it means making conscious choices about what's worth the true cost. Sabatier also tackles the emotional challenges of investing. The hardest moments to invest are precisely when you should invest most aggressively, during market crashes when prices are low and fear is high. He shares his experience during market downturns, continuing to invest regularly and even accelerating contributions when stocks went on sale. This discipline during scary times accelerated his wealth building significantly. The author provides guidance on investment allocation based on your financial freedom level. When you're at levels 1 to 3, focus almost entirely on increasing income and savings rate. Investment returns matter less when you have little invested. At levels 4 to 5, investment strategy becomes crucial because you have substantial capital that needs to grow efficiently. At level 6 and beyond, capital preservation becomes more important than aggressive growth. One powerful concept Sabatier introduces is side hustle investing, taking income from side businesses and aggressive income generation and investing 100% of it. This creates a psychological separation where you're living on your main income while your side income builds wealth invisibly. Many people find this easier than cutting lifestyle funded by their main job. Chapter 5: The 7-Step Quick Start Guide and Maintaining Balance. Sabatier recognizes that the complete system can feel overwhelming, so he provides a 7-step quick start guide, concrete actions to take in your first week to jumpstart your journey to financial freedom. Step 1. Calculate your financial freedom number. Use the formula annual expenses times 25. Know exactly where you're headed. Step 2. Track your spending for at least 1 month. You can't optimize what you don't measure. Use an app, spreadsheet, or notebook. Just capture every dollar. Step 3. Calculate your current savings rate. Take the amount you saved and invested last year, divide by your after-tax income. This is your baseline. Step 4. Identify your top 3 expense categories and find one optimization in each that won't reduce your life satisfaction. Execute these changes immediately. Step 5. Maximize retirement account contributions, especially employer matches. If you're not getting the full match, you're leaving free money on the table. Step 6. Automate your investments. Set up automatic transfers from checking to investment accounts right after payday. Remove willpower from the equation. Step 7. Identify one new income stream you can activate within 90 days and take the first action toward it this week. Sabatier emphasizes that these 7 steps can be completed in one weekend, and they'll generate more financial progress than most people make in years of unfocused effort. The key is taking action immediately rather than endless planning. But Sabatier also addresses a crucial concern: balance. His journey to financial freedom in 5 years was intense, and he's honest about the sacrifices. He worked constantly, eliminated most entertainment expenses, and lived frugally. This approach worked for him at that life stage, but he acknowledges it's not for everyone and shouldn't be indefinite, even for those who choose it. The author introduces the concept of the sweet spot, finding the balance between present enjoyment and future freedom that's sustainable for you personally. Some people are willing to live extremely frugally and work 80-hour weeks for 5 years to be free at 30. Others prefer a gentler 40% savings rate that takes 15 years, but allows more fun along the way. Neither approach is wrong. The wrong approach is the one you can't sustain. Sabatier shares his evolution. During his intense wealth-building phase, he tracked every dollar obsessively and optimized ruthlessly. Once he reached financial freedom, he loosened up significantly. He still tracks spending, but not obsessively. He still invests, but not every possible dollar. He spends freely on things that genuinely add value to his life. Financial freedom gave him permission to relax about money because he'd built the foundation. The book addresses common psychological challenges on the journey to financial freedom. The first is comparison, seeing peers living better lifestyles while you're saving aggressively. Sabatier's advice: remember you're playing a different game. The second challenge is staying motivated through what Sabatier calls the messy middle. The long stretch after initial excitement fades, but before you're close to financial freedom. His solution: track progress obsessively, celebrate milestones, visualize your freedom destination, and surround yourself with like-minded people pursuing financial independence. The third challenge is lifestyle inflation, the temptation to increase spending as income rises. Sabatier's solution is the one-time splurge rule. When you get a raise or windfall, you can splurge on something you really want one time, then commit to saving and investing the ongoing increase. This satisfies the psychological need to reward success while preventing permanent lifestyle inflation. The chapter concludes with Sabatier's perspective on what financial freedom actually feels like. It's not about never working. He continued working on projects he cared about. It's not about unlimited luxury. His lifestyle didn't change dramatically. What changed was the feeling. No Sunday night dread. No accepting workplace abuse because you need the paycheck. No panic about unexpected expenses. No calculation of whether you can afford to take time off. Complete mental peace about money. The freedom to choose how you spend your time based on what fulfills you. That feeling, Sabatier argues, is worth more than any material possession. Chapter 6. Living in Financial Freedom. The final section addresses what happens after you reach financial freedom, because the journey doesn't end, it transforms. Sabatier shares his experience of actually achieving his goal and the unexpected lessons that came with it. The first revelation: reaching financial freedom doesn't solve all problems or create automatic happiness. Sabatier describes a moment of emptiness shortly after hitting his number. He'd worked intensely toward this goal for 5 years, and suddenly it was achieved. Now what? The goal that had organized his entire life was complete, leaving a void. This experience taught him that financial freedom is not an end state. It's a beginning. It's the foundation that allows you to pursue what actually matters to you without financial constraints. But you still need to figure out what those things are. Financial freedom removes obstacles but doesn't automatically provide purpose. Sabatier shares how he navigated this transition. He experimented with pure leisure, sleeping late, traveling extensively, pursuing hobbies. Within months, he felt unfulfilled. Humans need challenge, growth, and contribution. He realized financial freedom wasn't about not working. It was about choosing meaningful work without financial pressure. He started working on projects he cared about. He built a popular blog teaching others about financial freedom. He wrote this book. He invested in causes and companies aligned with his values. He took on consulting projects that interested him and declined lucrative offers that didn't. This was the true value of financial freedom, complete choice. The author also addresses how financial freedom changes relationships. Some friendships strengthened because they were based on genuine connection rather than convenience of similar work schedules or economic circumstances. Other relationships faded because they'd been held together primarily by shared complaints about work and money. Financial freedom revealed which relationships were real. Sabatier discusses how his spending changed after reaching financial freedom. Surprisingly, he didn't significantly increase consumption. Having the option to buy almost anything made buying things less appealing. The scarcity mindset that drives much consumption disappeared. He now spends freely on things that genuinely improve his life, but rarely feels impulse to buy things that don't. The book addresses the decision of whether to tell people you're financially independent. Sabatier experimented with both openness and secrecy. He found that telling everyone created weird dynamics. Some people became resentful. Others constantly asked for financial help or advice. Others judged his choices. He settled on sharing only with close friends and family who understood his journey and values. One insight Sabatier shares: financial freedom doesn't mean you stop thinking about money. You just think about it differently. Instead of anxiety and scarcity, you think about optimization and allocation. How can you use money to create impact? What causes deserve support? How can you help others on their financial journeys? The mental energy that was consumed by financial stress gets redirected to more constructive questions. The author also addresses the one more year syndrome. People who reach their financial freedom number but keep working because they want just a little more. Sabatier warns against this trap. If you've done the math correctly and reached your number, continuing to work purely for more money means you're trading irreplaceable time for money you don't actually need. If you genuinely love your work, continue. But if you're just scared to pull the trigger, recognize that fear for what it is. Sabatier shares his current life several years after achieving financial freedom. He works on projects he cares about, typically 20 to 30 hours per week. He travels extensively with his wife. He invests in meaningful causes. He maintains a modest lifestyle relative to his wealth because he's realized that happiness beyond basic comfort doesn't come from more stuff. It comes from experiences, relationships, growth, and contribution. The chapter concludes with Sabatier's advice for those still on the journey. Financial freedom is absolutely achievable if you're willing to question conventional wisdom, make intentional choices, and stay focused over multiple years. The path isn't easy, but it's straightforward. And the destination, complete choice over how you spend your time, is worth every sacrifice along the way. He emphasizes that you don't need to wait until complete financial freedom to start living more freely. Each level you ascend provides more options and peace of mind. Level 3, breathing room with emergency fund and no toxic debt, already transforms your daily stress. Level 5, 2 years of expenses invested, already gives you substantial negotiating power and choice. The journey itself is empowering, not just the destination. We've journeyed through Grant Sabatier's complete system for achieving financial freedom, from calculating your exact number to maximizing income across multiple streams, optimizing your savings rate to accelerate progress, investing strategically for compound growth, and ultimately designing a life where work is optional and choice is unlimited. The power of Sabatier's approach isn't just that it works, though his results and those of thousands who've followed his path prove it does. The power is that it's comprehensive yet actionable, ambitious yet realistic, and focused on what actually moves the needle rather than trivial optimizations that make little difference. Let's recap the core principles. Know your exact financial freedom number and which level you're targeting. Understand that your savings rate determines your timeline more than any other factor. Maximize income through multiple streams rather than relying on a single source. Invest early, consistently, and tax efficiently in low-cost index funds. Optimize expenses ruthlessly while maintaining quality of life. And remember that financial freedom isn't about stopping work. It's about choosing work. Here's what I want you to do this week. Complete Sabatier's 7-step quick start guide. Calculate your financial freedom number. Track your current spending and savings rate. Identify your 3 biggest expense optimizations. Max out your retirement account contributions. Automate your investments. Identify 1 new income stream you can activate. These 7 actions will generate more progress than months of vague intention. The beautiful truth is that financial freedom is not reserved for the lucky, the exceptionally talented, or those who start with advantages. Sabatier started with $2.26, sleeping on his parents' couch. Within 5 years, he was financially free. Was his path extreme? Yes. Is extreme necessary? No. But some version of his principles absolutely is. If you're 25 and achieve a 50% savings rate, you could be financially free by 40. If you're 40 and start now with 60% savings rate, you could be free by 50. These timelines aren't theoretical. They're mathematical results of the principles Sabatier teaches. The only question is whether you'll implement them. Financial freedom won't fall into your lap. It requires intention, sacrifice, discipline, and sustained effort over years. But compare that to the alternative. 4 more decades of trading your time for money, hoping you'll have enough energy left at 65 to enjoy whatever freedom you've scraped together. Sabatier's path is harder in the short term and dramatically easier in the long term. If this summary inspired you to take action toward financial freedom, drop a comment about what your first step will be or what your target financial freedom number is. And if you want the complete system with detailed tactics, calculations, and motivation, grab a copy of Financial Freedom by Grant Sabatier. It might be the book that changes your entire financial trajectory. Until next time, remember, financial freedom isn't about money. It's about time. It's about buying back your days so you can spend them on what actually matters. The path is clear. The only question is whether you'll take it. Thank you for watching.